Just one brief sentence about how.
Okay.
That's part of the. I know this is into the collecting thing, but that's part of the big thing. How do you find it?
Right. These 3 copies of The Lord of the Rings, of the Ace editions, I found them on the internet a number of years ago. It was just something that I wanted to have in my collection to sort of complete the history of the publication, as most of my books do go from 1937 right up to the present day. And I just felt that these were a very important part of the publication history of Tolkien's works.
Okay, that's good. Now that we're on that topic, let's go on to how many books you think you might have in your on anything, just to give a sense.
In my collection at this present time, I have around about 500 books all up. They consist of early editions of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. They also consist of the publication history of those books. I have a collection of about 60 Hobbits paperbacks with all different illustrations on the front of them. Some of them are from other countries, and some of the illustrations are quite hilarious. I also have a number of special editions and deluxe editions of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and I have a number of books that are about Tolkien, about his life, other books that are like what would you call scholarly studies of his works, and also a number of movie books. So all up, yes, around about 500 at the latest count, and it's steadily growing as new books come on the market. These days I mainly reserve myself for just buying special editions. I don't go out and buy everything that comes out.
Did you say that day at coffee, did you refer to your library as the Proudfoot collection or something? Is that what you thought?
Yeah, the collection has, we've named the collection the Proudfoot collection. Proudfoot is a fictional name, which is actually the pen name that I use when I write my poems and stories.
Okay, let's talk about the poetry now. What inspired you to start writing your own poems?
I don't know.
When did you start?
Do you want me to get one of them and read one?
Are we doing that now?
We'll just keep going
with this. Yeah. Okay. So when did you write your first poem?
As I am a retired school teacher, and I used to always read The Hobbit to my classes, and as the years went by, I gradually started creating what you would call a literature program for one term of study based around The Hobbit and a little bit on The Lord of the Rings. This led to my getting the children to write short poems about the Hobbits or about part of the, some of the characters from The Hobbit. And eventually I found myself starting to write, short poems and stories myself, or editing the children's story in such a way that was really me that was writing it. When I retired from teaching, I started getting serious and started writing poems.
Sorry. Can you say when I retired from teaching, how many years ago that was?
14, 13, 12, 11. 5 years ago.
Okay, when I retired from teaching.
Yeah. So I retired from teaching around about 5 years ago, and I seriously started to write poems based on characters and places in Middle-earth. Over the years I've refined them so that now they are just poems and short stories inspired by Middle-earth. So my early poems would mention names like Frodo and Bilbo and Gandalf, but I found that if ever I wanted to publish these poems, I would have to write them in such a way that I don't use copyrighted names. Now the latest news on that is Aloris Publishing, who are a publishing company in Canada and who specifically do publish a lot of things about Middle-earth and Lord of the Rings, are going to publish my poems into a book. At present I have about 30 poems and a number of short stories, and so hopefully the book will be published somewhere around about April next year. Currently we're working on a manuscript. And as I said, all my new poems now are inspired by Middle-earth. Some of them are just purely fictional. Some of them we can, if you know Middle-earth at all, you'll know who the characters are, but they could be somebody else as well. So it should be, hopefully, a nice little book for people who like Middle-earth to read.